tried to sleep last night, whispers of regret ringing in my head, miles away from any peace. I say I'm doing alright, steady eyes, head up high with the storm inside, cover up what's underneath. But I know myself oh too well, prone to wander, a problem solver, hold the world in my own hands. I'm just a struggler, jealous brother, all alone in this dance, tired of searching for the answers. Lord, help me understand. Will you take me back to Eden, where I can learn to walk again with you? I tried to prove myself, show the world just what it means to be a man. Clenched my fists and learned to swing. I turned and faced my giants, got knocked down so many times, stood back up and wiped the dust off my knees. Even though I fell, I still know I'm held. A weary father holding daughters, my whole world in these two hands. Reckless lover, faithful brother, trying to do the best I can. No, I still don't know the answer, what it means to be a man, but my heart still longs for Eden, where I can learn to walk again with you. With you. Take me back to Eden.
of true Passover, and it's a spiritual Sunday. How are you doing this evening, brother?
Right. So it's the eve of the eve, the great eve, right? The great birth and death of Adam all took place tomorrow after sundown, right? And Christ, at least his death.
Yeah, what an evening that is, huh? And
Yeah.
so we're going to be doing the bread and wine covenant tomorrow evening. That's what Christ commanded us to do with the Last Supper. And we're going to be going through that and talking about world events. Yeah, I mean, what's going to happen on the world stage when this is what most people consider to be Passover? There was the Holy Week that the Vatican did when it was Easter Sunday, and they tried to pass it off as being Passover time, but no. It wasn't even the new year yet. That happened the day after the total solar American eclipse that took place on April 8th. So we are in the month of Nisan, everybody. We're coming up on a full moon. Passover is the 14th. We've got it right now. We had it wrong for a while, but we've got the true Hebrew calendar dialed in once again. And yeah, so it's a festival week, brother. What do you see upcoming for this festival week?
Yeah. It's again a kickoff to another year. And as cool as that sounds, talking about last year on April 21st was the sighting of the new moon. Right. So we were just starting the month of Nisan last year today. So it's a bit of a New Year versary, right? But we went through that already about 12 and a half days ago. As you can see how the procession does take place and how we have to keep things aligned. So what we're saying is that to correctly celebrate the Feast of Unleavened Bread and Passover and what we now call the Bread and Wine Covenant as the third dispensation of the whole entire topic, we need to find out when the sun will be rising in the sign of the Lamb with the full moon, right? So to have the full moon rise and the sun set at the same time is how you mark the 15th of every single month. And all but Shavuot festivals and atonement, but it's not really the same as a festival. All take place. Tabernacles and Passover take place on full moons. And to have the sun lining up, because Nisan is a small sign out of the 12 houses in the sky, which is commonly called the zodiac. So to calculate it, you got to be careful. You have to look at when the new moon is, and then where will the sun be in 15 days from that? And if the sun is into the sign of the Ram or Taurus, or the bull sign in the sky, you know you've gone too far. You didn't celebrate the new year and the correct time. So what we've done is continue to work harder and refine and refine. And now we have it down that we used to believe that the day of Passover started at the sunset on the 14th and that the lamb was eaten at the sunset of the 14th. But we found out this year through research and analysis that it's actually the twilight is the beginning of the day. So as the sun sets, that is the time of the twilight period of the day of the 14th of the Hebrew month. And that's how we've corrected the calendar. You've done a great job with it, putting it together. There's a link in the description box below where you can find that. And again, the bread and the wine covenant is the new commandment that Christ gave to us before he left. Well, he was there for a few more days, and he came back again, and he never really left. But his commandment was to do this in remembrance of me. And sure enough, it goes all the way back to Adam. So we're going to continue to try to teach and share more and learn more together. We're all students here, and we follow the truth. And so again, we'll do a little study into the parabolic language about the leaven and the three-step process that takes place to actually leaven the whole lump. And I'm looking forward to that too tomorrow. So it'll be tomorrow night between 9 and 10 at some point, I'm sure. We'll come on. Everybody should be available by that time tomorrow night, and have your red wine and your unleavened bread cracker. Now, we're not saved. We're not saved by following the law or keeping commandments. It's something that we do because we want to, right? Some people can't take time off. Some people have to work. The Day of Atonement seems to be the most important day where we actually give back and we show reverence and we um, discipline ourselves by not eating or drinking for that 24 hours a period of time. Everything else, we were commanded not to allow anybody to give us a hard time, whether we celebrate it or not. It all depends on your heart condition. And I'm excited. This is a great time of the year. We'll get some videos out. I'm sure we've got some, I know they can be a little bit emotional when you see Christ going through his passion. And I don't like, bringing it up like the Catholics do all the time. But maybe we'll do something. We'll see how it goes, time permitted. But I'm excited, Jason. That's my rant for tonight. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We got a great book to read. I'm excited. I really love The Cave of Treasures.
Yeah, we're gonna keep supporting that. The advantage goes to whoever has read the most amount of scripture, because each and every additional scripture that we read adds more context, more detail. You get to see and understand what was taking place a little bit better. And so this is a book that we had read, but we had read it on your channel, and unfortunately YouTube stole your channel from us because you share the truth. So we wanted to get it reread, and so we're doing that. It's a longer read. I mean, this is like a 3.5 hour read, so we probably won't finish it tonight. We'll see how far we read into it. We we have gone through Adam being expelled from the Garden of Eden, and now all of a sudden we're going to get into hearing about Seth. So this is all this extra canonical book does is just give us more details that we didn't get to know, that because they got removed. It got pulled out of what they called is the canon. So we like reading all these extra canonical scriptures. We recommend people read all these extra scriptures. When you put them all together, it's a clearer picture. So anything else, brother, or should we get into it?
Yeah, remember, this is a compilation of extra canonical books that was put back together in the mid 300s. So again, a lot of the extra canonical books, not all of them, but a lot of them are commentaries and then, republished versions of the old books, like the Book of the Bee and the Conflict of Adam and Eve and Azazel, or known as Satan. These are the types of things that they are. I just want to make sure that everybody understands that the Holy Spirit can inspire the word to be written and spoken by anybody at any time, and the truth can come back. And like you had said, Jason, this just adds more context, more description, so that we can completely understand what happened, why we're here, and what took place. Without guys like Zen Garcia and all these other seed bloodline where they think that there was confunctious twins, there was a big orgy in the garden, and that Cain was actually the physical son of Azazel, when it's just all absolute blasphemy. And when we read last week, we learned that it wasn't until after they had left the garden that Adam had made the offering with the 3 items, that he made the offering to have his first child. And it was Cain that was born with his twin sister, and then Abel was born with his twin sister, and they were to swap sisters and get married that way, so that there was still a separation and a division being taught. But Cain rebelled. He rebelled against that. It wasn't about Cain's vegetables not being good enough. That's what you'll get the modern day Satanists saying. Oh yeah, your creator is real good. He didn't. It was because Abel was asking for the correct marriage to take place, and Cain was asking for a wicked version of what was planned. And that's why it was rejected. And due to the first jealousy, so the first division that took place, Satan divided Abel and Cain through Cain's jealousy of his brother. And that's it. And that's where we're up to for now.
All right, let's get into it.
Me Tarzan, you Jane, me runway, you plane. Long before things went wrong, I called your name. I banged the gong, and you did the same. I was wishing my condition away, calling sick on a bank holiday, and you conditional way. Called in sick on a bank holiday. You came to see me, but you don't want me to stay. So I drowned the fish and now it's swimming away. I drowned the fish and now it's swimming away.
It's been a good music day. For anybody that missed the Rise and Grind this morning, there were some great ones in the Rise and Grind as well.
Yeah. Shout out to the Goldsmith sending in the tunes, and we put them together and we bring them out. We try to make good vibes. We try to share new music with everybody, but the most important thing is that we get into these scriptures tonight. We got the birth of Seth.
Yeah. So we're taking the walk from Adam until Christ. And so we're just outside of the garden, and we've got the birth of Seth. And I'll start reading, and let's get into it. And Adam and Eve mourned for Abel 100 years. And then Adam knew his wife again, and she brought forth Seth, the beautiful, a man mighty and perfect like unto Adam, and he became the father of the mighty men who lived before the flood. There's some notes here. So the text Ronnie did put in the chat, if you want to go back through and read these notes. The prosperity of Seth. And to Seth was born Enosh or Enos, and Enosh begot Canaan. And Canaan begot Mahalalel. These are the patriarchs who were born in the days of Adam. The death of Adam. And when Adam had lived 930 years, that is to say until the 135th year of Mahalalel, the day of his death drew nigh and came. And Seth his son, and Enosh and Canaan, and Mahalalel gathered themselves together and came to him. And they were blessed by him, and he prayed over them. And he commanded his son Seth, and said unto him, Observe, my son Seth, that which I commanded thee this day, and do thou on the day of thy death give my command to Enosh, and repeat it to him. And let him repeat it to Canaan, and Canaan shall repeat it to Mahalalel. And let this my command be handed on to all your generations. And when I die, embalm me with myrrh, and cassia, and stocti, and deposit my body in the cave of treasures. And whosoever shall be left of your generations in that day, when you're going forth from this country, which is round about paradise, shall take place, shall carry my body with him, and shall take it, and deposit it in the center of the earth, for in that place shall redemption be effected for me, and for all my children. And be thou, O my son Seth, governor of the sons of my people, and thou shalt rule them purely and holily, in fear of Yahawashai, and keep ye your offspring separate from the offspring of Cain, the murderer. And when the report Adam is dying, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out again that anytime you see the word Friday, understand it's the eve of the Sabbath. And they've really tried to bastardize the fact that there was no such thing as a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Those are all satanic pagan names. There was just numbered days of the month. First Sabbath, second Sabbath, third Sabbath, fourth Sabbath, new moon. That's how it went. And so the Friday would be the eve of the Sabbath.
Gotcha. And when the report Adam is dying was known generally, all his offspring gathered together and came to him, that is to say, Seth his son, and Enosh, and Canaan, and Mahalalel, they and their wives, and their sons, and their daughters, and Adam blessed them. And the departure of Adam from this world took place in the 930th year, according to the reckoning from the beginning, on the 14th day of the moon, on the 6th day of the month of Nisan, April, at the 9th hour, and on the day of the eve of the Sabbath, i.e. Friday. This is what Ronnie was saying. Don't fall for this Friday nonsense.
Yeah. the key was the eve of the Sabbath, and what we're getting here is the 14th day of the month, right? And where it says the 6th day of the month, that there should say week. But they didn't have weeks. That's again pagan, so you can see the bastardization to the scriptures. So it's on the 14th day of the month of the moon, right? Month. I know it's like that. And on the 6th day of the week, it would have been the day before Sabbath.
You got it.
Correct version. But it's the 14th of Nisan, which is exactly what we're about to be tomorrow night at sundown.
Well, and look at the parallel that comes here. At the same hour in which the Son of Man delivered up his soul to his Father on the cross, did our father Adam deliver up his soul to him that fashioned him, and he departed from this world. So Christ is being, he's called the first Adam, the last Adam, and then the exact parallels of the Nisan 14 at the same time of the day.
Yeah. Same.
Right? The burial of Adam. And when Adam was dead, his son Seth embalmed him, according as Adam had commanded him, with myrrh and cassia and stocti. Now Adam's dead body was the first body buried in the earth, and grief for him was exceedingly sore, and Seth and his sons mourned for his death 140 days. And they took Adam's body up to the top of the mountain and buried it in the cave of treasures. And after the families and peoples of the children of Seth had buried Adam, they separated themselves from the children of Cain, the murderer. And Seth took Enosh, his firstborn, and Canaan, and Mahalalel, and their wives and children, and led them up into the glorious mountain where Adam was buried. And Cain and all his descendants remained below on the plain where Cain slew Abel.
And so what I want to point out here is that the coming of Passover and everybody walking and doing the journey to Jerusalem is the exact same thing that we're seeing taking place here for Adam. Exact same way.
Then the rule of Seth. And Seth became the governor of the children of his people, and he ruled them in purity and holiness. And because of their purity, they received the name which is the best of all names, and were called the sons of Yahawashai, they and their wives and their sons. Thus they lived in that mountain in all purity and holiness, and in the fear of Yahawashai. And they went up on the skirts of the mountain of paradise, and they became praisers and glorifiers of Yahawashai in the place of that host of devils who fell from heaven. There they dwelt in peace and happiness. There was nothing about which they needed to feel anxiety. They had nothing to weary or trouble them, and they had nothing to do except to praise and glorify Yahawashai with the angels. For they heard continually the voices of the angels who were singing praises in paradise, which is situated at no great height above them. In fact,
what? Hang on. That literally says that everything is super local. Okay, I just want to point that out. Virtual reality talk.
Yeah, no great height above them. In fact, only about 30 spans. I think a span is usually like your
eagle wings.
Yeah, like your wingspan, from tip to finger to tip to finger, according to the measure of the Spirit, of course, right? They suffered neither toil nor fatigue. They had neither seed time nor harvest, but they fed themselves with the delectable fruits of glorious trees of all kinds. And they enjoyed the sweet scent and perfume of the breezes which wafted forth to them from paradise. Thus lived those holy men who were indeed holy, and their wives were pure, and their sons were virtuous, and their daughters were chaste and undefiled. In them there was no rebellious thought, no envy, no anger, no enmity. In their wives and daughters there was no impure longing, and neither lasciviousness, nor cursing, nor lying was heard among them. The only oath which they used in swearing was by the blood of Abel. And they and their wives and their children used to rise up early in the morning and go up to the top of that holy mountain and worship there before Yahawashai. And they were blessed by the body of Adam their father, and they lifted up their eyes to paradise and praised Yahawashai, and thus they did all the days of their life. You want to continue, brother?
Sure, that was a pretty righteous group. What's the header again say? I'm just scrolling down to it.
Well, there's there's a big
Seth lived.
there's a big notes, and then there's no header. It says, and when Seth, had lived 930 years.
Okay, I'm ready. Okay, let's get the screen share going. Great job. Thank you for reading, Jason. The note says, according to the book of the bee, Adam lived 930 years and Seth lived 913 or 905. Interesting. That's my area code right there where I grew up. And when Seth had lived 913 years, he became sick unto death. And Enosh, his son, and Canaan, and Mahalalel, and Yared, and Heonokah, or Enoch, and their wives and their sons gathered together and came unto him. And they were blessed by him. And he prayed over them, and commanded them, and made them take an oath. And he said unto them, quote, I will make you to take an oath, and to swear by the holy blood of Abel, that none of you will go down from this holy mountain under the children of Cain, the murderer. For ye know well the enemy, the enmity which hath existed between us and Cain from the day wherein he slew Abel. So again, the curse that Yahawashai had passed is that he would put enmity between the two seeds, right? And Seth blessed Enosh his son and gave him commands concerning the body of Adam. And he made him ruler over the children of his people. And Seth ruled them in purity and in holiness. And he ministered diligently before the body of Adam. And Seth died when he was 912 years old, and 27th day of the blessed month of Abba, or August, on the 2nd day of the week, which not a Monday, but at the 3rd hour in the 20th year of the life of Enoch. And Enosh, Seth's firstborn son, embalmed his body and buried him also in the cave of treasures with his father Adam. And they made a mourning for him for 40 days. Again, we've got lots of 40 days. 40 days Moses was up the mountain. Christ did the walk through the wilderness for 40 days. There's lots of 40s. Sweet spices. Beautiful, beautiful sweet spices that they used. Frankincense, cinnamon. What are the other ones? Myrrh. There's a bunch of beautiful sweet spices. The rule of Enosh. And Enosh rose up to minister before Yahawashai into the cave of treasures. And he became the governor of the children of his people. And he kept all of the commandments which his father Seth had commanded him. And he urged them to be constant in prayer. According to the book of B, Enosh, 290 years old when he begot Canaan. So he was quite an elderly man before he had his son. And some state that he was the first to compose the books upon the courses of the heavenly signs and the stars and the luminaries. This was pre-Enoch. And in the days of Enosh, in his 820th year, Lamech, the blind man who had killed Cain, the murderer, in the forest of Noah. Now this killing took place. What did I miss here? And in the days of Enosh, in his 820th year, Lamech, the blind man, killed Cain, the murderer, in the forest of Nahodah. Now this killing took place in the following manner. As Lamech was leaning upon a youth, his son Tubal-Cain, and the youth was setting straight his father's arm in the direction in which he saw the quarry, or I guess they were hunting, what did it say, deer? Interestingly, again, Lamech was blind, so he couldn't see, and he had his son Tubal-Cain who was lining him up because his dad had the strength to let go of the bow. And it says here, he heard the sound of Cain moving about backwards and forwards into the forest. Now Cain was unable to stand still in one place and to hold his peace, so he was cursed, Cain, to walk all of the days of his life, to be in, turmoil because he wouldn't repent and ask for forgiveness for what he had done. Now Cain was unable to stand still in one place and to hold his peace. And Lamech, thinking that it was a wild beast that was making the movement in the forest, raised his arm, and having made already, drew his bow and shot an arrow towards that spot. And the arrow smote Cain between his eyes, and he fell down dead. And Lamech, thinking that he had shot game, spake unto the youth, saying, Make haste, and let us see what game we have shot. And when they went to the spot, and the boy on whom Lamech leaned had looked, and he said unto him, O my lord, thou hast killed Cain. And Lamech moved his hands to smite them together, but as he did that, he ended up smoting the child and killed him also. We get a note from the book of Adam. So again, a bunch of the old books are compiled here. And it says Lamech was armed with a bow and large arrows and a sling and smooth stones like David. Isn't that interesting? An arrow pierced one side of Cain, and a stone from Lamech's sling knocked out both his eyes. Lamech smote the youth who had led him about accidentally, but afterwards he smashed his head in with a stone. There are many versions of the story in Arabic, Ethiopic, and Hebrew, but they all agree in the essential details. According to the Book of the Bee, which you cannot find this book anymore, it's gone. The anvil and hammer and tongs were invented by Tubal Cain and Jubal, which also constructed musical instruments, harps, and pipes that the devil lived in the pipes and sang therein. And when Enosh had lived 905 years and was sick unto death, all the patriarchs gathered themselves together and came unto him. Canaan, his firstborn son, and Mahalalel, and Yared, and Enoch, and Methuselah, and they and their wives and their sons. And they were blessed by him. And he prayed over them and commanded them and spake unto them, saying, quote, I will make you to swear by the holy blood of Abel that not one of you shall go down from this mountain unto the plain, nor into the encampment of the children of Cain, the murderer. And ye shall not mingle yourselves among them. Take ye good heed unto this matter, for ye well know that enmity hath existed between us and them from the day whereon Cain had slew Abel. And he blessed Canaan his son, and commanded him concerning the body of Adam, that he should minister before it all the days of his life, and that he should rule over the children of his people in purity and in holiness. And Enosh died at the age of 905 years. And on the third day of the month of the 1st of October, I can say that's Teshran, or on the day of the Sabbath in the 15th third year of the life of Methuselah. And Canaan and his firstborn embalmed him and buried him in the cave of treasures, wherein Adam and Seth were his father. And they made a mourning for him for 40 days. I guess you want to take back over? Starting to get...
Yeah.
I'll make it through it.
Got it. We are at the rule of Canaan. And Canaan stood up before Yahawashai to minister in the cave of treasures. He was an honorable and pure man, and he governed the children of his people in the complete fear of Yahawashai, and he fulfilled all the commandments of Enosh his father. And when Canaan had lived 920 years, and was sick unto death, all the patriarchs gathered together and came unto him. Mahalalel his son, and Yared, and Enoch, and Methuselah, and Lamech, they and their wives and their children, and were blessed by him. And he prayed over them and commanded them, saying, I will make you swear by the holy blood of Abel that not one of you shall go down from this holy mountain into the camp of the children of Cain, the murderer, for ye all know well what enmity hath existed between us and them since the day whereon he killed Abel. And he blessed his son Mahalalel, and admonished him concerning the body of Adam, and said unto him, Behold, O my son Mahalalel, minister thou before Yahawashai in purity and holiness in the cave of treasures, and depart not thou from the presence of the body of Adam all the days of thy life. And be thou the governor of the children of thy people, and rule thou them purely and holily. Canaan died, being 920 years old, and the 13th day of the month of Hezran, June, on the 4th day of the week, not a Wednesday, at midday, in the 560th year of the life of Lamech, the father of Noah. And Mahalalel his son embalmed him, and buried him in the cave of treasures, and they made mourning for him 40 days. And there's some notes here. The rule of Mahalalel. And Mahalalel rose up and ministered before Yahawashai in the place of Canaan his father. He was constant in prayer by day and by night, and he urged earnestly the children of his people to observe holiness and purity, and to pray without ceasing. And when Mahalalel had lived 895 years, and the day of his departure drew nigh, he was sick unto death. All the patriarchs gathered together and came unto him, Yared his firstborn, and Enoch, and Methuselah, and Lamech, and Noah, they and their wives and their children, and were blessed by him. And he prayed over them, and commanded them, saying, I will make you go to swear by the holy blood of Abel that not one of you shall go down from this holy mountain. And ye shall not permit any one of your descendants to go down to the plain, to the children of Cain, the murderer, for ye all well know what enmity hath existed between us and them from the day whereon he slew Abel. And he blessed Yared, his firstborn, and he commanded him concerning the body of Adam, and revealed unto him the place whereto he should make ready to go. And he also commanded him, and made him to swear an oath, saying, Thou shalt not depart from the body of our father Adam all the days of thy life, and thou shalt be the governor of the children of thy people, and shalt rule them in chastity and holiness. And Mahalalel died, being 895 years old, on the 2nd day of the month Nisan, April, on the 1st day of the week, not a Sunday, at the 3rd hour of the day, in the 34th year of the life of Noah. And Yared, his firstborn, embalmed him, and buried him in the cave of treasures, and the people made a mourning for him 40 days. There's a note. The rule of Yared. And Yared, his son, rose up and ministered before Yahawah in the cave of treasures. He was a perfect man, and was complete in all the virtues. And he was constant in prayer by day and by night. And because of the excellence of his life and conversation, his days were longer than those of all the children of his people. And in the days of Yared, in the 500th year of his life, the children of Seth broke the oaths which their fathers had made them to swear. And they began to go down from that holy mountain to the encampment of iniquity of the children of Cain, the murderer, and in this way the fall of the children of Seth took place. See this? There's a note about it being the 485th year. Let's go ahead and read this. At this time Satan and 30 of his devils appeared to Yared in the form of handsome men, and called him from the cave of treasures. He came out to them, and thought they were strangers, and asked them who they were. In answer, Satan told him that he was Adam, and that among his companions were Abel, Seth, Enos, Canaan, and other kinsmen of Yared. He invited Yared to come with him, and live with him in the garden which Yahawah had given him. And at length Yared was persuaded to leave the cave and go with him. When they arrived at the top of the mountain of the sons of Cain, Satan pretended that he had left a garment for Yared by the cave, and sent one of his devils back to fetch it, telling him at the same time to extinguish the lamp which was burning in the cave near Adam's body. Satan and Yared rested by a fountain, and food was brought out to them by the sons and daughters of Cain, but Yared refused to eat or drink. Satan entreated him to put aside his sadness, and to do as he was going to do. Thereupon Satan and 5 of his devils each seized a woman, and committed fornication with her. And on seeing this exhibition of iniquity, Yared burst into tears, and began to pray to Yahawah to be delivered from that place. When he began to pray, the devils took to flight, and Yahawah sent an angel, who brought him back to his holy mountain. When he returned to the cave, his people told him that the lamp had been extinguished, and that the bodies of the patriarchs had been scattered about, and that voices had come from them. On entering the cave, a voice came to him from Adam's body, and warned him to beware of Satan and his wiles, and told him to relight the lamp from the fire on the altar at which Adam had ministered. The lamp was relighted at the end of the 450th year of Yared's life. 80 years later, his people began to go down to the children of Cain, and to mingle with their women. You want to start reading again, or should I keep going?
That was pretty important to notice. I can keep reading if you
actually there's a next coming up, yeah. And in the 40th year of Yared, the first 1,000 years from Adam to Yared came to an end. And in these years the handicraftsmen of sin and the disciples of Satan appeared, for he was their teacher, and he entered in and dwelt in them, and he poured into them the spirit of the operation of error, through which the fall of the children of Seth was to take place.
So we're getting some extra detail here as to what ended up happening in the first 1,000 years.
Yeah. Not all.
As you can.
Go ahead.
No, you first, please.
Yeah, not all of that is in the Bible. You get glimpses of that in the 66 book canon, but not in that kind of detail.
Yeah, this is super detailed, and you can see why they took the books away, because it really helps people to understand. We got possession taking place. We've got, again, Satan, who's the word of adversary, which is Azazel, the adversary, constantly dividing, distracting, doing everything that he possibly can to lead the children of Yahawah away. Nothing has changed. He did the same thing with Adam and Eve in the garden, and so on and so forth. When they fell to earth, he continued to do that. And this book is just showing how that's continued down through the first 1,000 years. And the men and the women were pretty loyal. And the other thing that we see is the oath. Swear no oaths anymore. And we haven't seen anybody try to actually get forgiveness for Cain and his descendants yet. It was a very staunch, thouest well stay completely separated from them. You know, it was like a command, and they were to be righteous and holy. And this is what we see so far.
The second 1,000 years.
On the transmission of the art of playing the harp, that is to say, music and singing and dancing, Jubal and Tubal-Cain are two brethren, the sons of Lamech, the blind man who killed Cain, invented and made all kinds of instruments of music. Jobal made reed instruments and harps and flutes and whistles, and the devils went in and dwelt inside them. Again, we're getting possession. Right? That doesn't mean music is evil. It just means that through the lusts of our hearts and perversions, demonic possession takes place. When men blew into the pipes, the devils sang inside them and sent out sounds from inside them. And Tubal-Cain made cymbals and sistria and tambourines of drums, and lasciviousness and fornication increased among the children of Cain. And they had nothing to occupy them except fornication. Now they had no obligation to pay tribute, and they had neither prince nor governor, and eating and drinking and lasciviousness, and drunkenness, and dancing and singing to the instruments of music, and the wanton sportings of the devils, and the laughter which affordeth pleasure to the devils, and the sounds of the furious lusts of the men neighing over women. And Azazel, finding his opportunity in this work of error, rejoiced greatly, because thereby he could compel the sons of Seth to come down from that holy mountain. There they had been made to occupy the place of that army of the angels that fell with Azazel. And they were beloved by Yahawah, and they were held in honor by the angels, and were called the sons of Yahawah. Even as the blessed David sang in the Psalms, I have said, you are gods, or you are Elohims, and all of you the sons of the Most High. Meanwhile, fornication reigned amongst the daughters of Cain, and without shame several women would run after one man, and one man would attack another, and they committed fornication in the presence of others shamelessly. For all of the devils were gathered in the camp of Cain, and unclean spirits entered into the women and took possession of them. The old women were the most lascivious than the maidens. Fathers and their sons defiled themselves with their mothers and sisters. Sons respected not even their own fathers, and the fathers made no distinction between their sons or other men. And Azazel had been made ruler or prince of that camp. And when the men and women were stirred up to lasciviousness, frenzy, the devilish playing of reeds, which emitted musical sounds, by the harps which the men played through the operation of the power of the devils, and by the sounds of the tambourines and of the sistria, which were beaten and rattled through the agency of the evil spirits. And the sounds of the laughter were heard in the air above them, and ascended up on top of that holy high mountain. And when the children of Seth heard the noise and uproar and shouts of laughter in the camp of the children of Cain, about 100 of them who were mighty men were gathered together, and set their faces to go down to the camp of the children of Cain. And when Yared had heard their words and knew their intention, he became sorely afflicted, and he sent and called them unto him, and said unto them, by the holy blood of Abel, I will have you swear that not one of you shall go down from this holy mountain. Remember you this oath, which our father Seth and Enosh and Canaan and Mahalalel made us swear. And to Enoch also said unto them, hearken, O ye children of Seth, no man who shall transgress the commandment of Yared and break the oaths of our fathers, and go down from this mountain, shall never again ascend it. But the children of Seth would neither hearken to the commandment of Yared, nor to the words of Enoch. And they dared to transgress the commandment, and those 100 men who were mighty men of war went down to the camp of Cain. And when they saw the daughters of Cain were beautiful in form, and that they were naked and unashamed, the children of Seth became inflamed with the fire of lust. So what I really want to point out here is the falling of angels and men. The symbolism and the parabolic language of you had it in Greek, was Mount Olympus. In the truth, it was the high holy mountain of Yahawashai this was taking place on. And I think flat earthers, what do they call it? Maru. And there's a bunch of other different names and religions, but this is the oldest documented story. And so it was lust. So first they could hear the partying. Everybody knows, when you're younger, you hear that partying and that noise and you're curious or excited. You want to go and dance and have fun too. But the older you get, that noise starts to become painful. It becomes, displeasing. But we can see here it was the lust of their hearts of desire that drove the descendants of Cain, or of Enoch now, where Enoch was the last in command, the son of Yared, son of Enoch. They went down, and when the daughters of Cain saw the goodliness of the children of Seth, they gripped onto them like ravening beasts and defiled their bodies. And the children of Seth slew their souls by fornication with the daughters of Cain. Oh, that's just the writing of that poetic language. The children of Seth slew their souls. And when the children of Seth wished to go back up again unto that high holy mountain, after they had come down and fallen, the stones of that holy mountain became fire in their sight. And having defiled their souls with the fire of fornication, Yahawashai did not permit them to ascend up to that holy place. And moreover, very many others made bold and went down after them, and they too fell. So again, I want to point out, we're constantly getting from the book of Enoch, right? The stories about the fallen angels, Azazel, and is it 200 that fell? You get the 1/3 from heaven. And now we're just getting the descendants of Adam. It's the same story. There's nothing different here. You're just getting the basic understanding of it, right? I'll keep reading a little bit more. It says here, this story is told in great length in the book of Adam. So there is no singular book of Adam. There's only the book of Adam and Eve. There's the conflict between Adam and Eve and Satan. There's book 1 and 2, and there's some other fragments. It says here, Azazel appeared in the form of Gunan and taught him how to make horns and trumpets and stringed instruments, cymbals. What's this say? Palstries, lyres, harps. I guess these were like type of bass guitar or a harp, a long harp. And in these, Satan entered himself. So again, through the possession of the music, I don't think we have to read this whole note unless you wanted me to, but
it's a pretty good note. I don't know if I would skip all of that, and it's got a list of a bunch of the bad guys.
Okay, I'll keep reading it, right? Then Azazel taught Gunan to make weapons for war of iron. And again, if you get in the book of Enoch, it literally explains Azazel. And when men were drunk, they killed each other with them. Of course, like you could see how that was going to happen, right? Next, Azazel taught men how to dye their garments crimson and purple. Obviously, that's the color they mocked Christ in. And they arrayed themselves in gaudy attire, and began to race their horses. Little by little, the children of Seth began to wish to join with the sons of Cain. And when the devils had shown them a way down the mountain, 100 of them, again, another incursion, went down unto that flat earth plain, right? And were led astray by the women whose hands and feet were stained with bright colors and whose faces had tattoo marks on them. When the Shittites tried to return up to the top of the mountain, the stones turned into coals of fire, and they could not pass over them. Company after company of the children of Seth went down unto that plain, and at length Yared and a few others remained on the top of the mountain. And then it quotes in the Ethiopic book of Enoch, see the translations of this archbishop, supplies interesting details about the fall of the children of Seth, the leaders of those who went down from Eredes, or Mount Hermon, and Simeazaz, the commander of the chief of Arakabarim, and Kokiobel, and Tamiel, and Ramiel, and Daniel, and Zakilo, and Zachariel, and Asael, and Amaros, and Badarael, and Anani, and Zachabi, and Swamsi, El, and Sadanel, and Turael, and Yamiel, and Azazel. Each of these was over a company of 10, and the names of 2 of the dracons of the 200 angels are omitted. These angels took themselves wives and taught them how to use spells and enchantments, and the use of plants and trees for medical purposes. And the daughters of Cain conceived, and in a tradition of the Kabra Nagaz, it says that the children were so large that they could not be born by the ordinary way and had to be removed from their mother's umbilicus, or the, umbilical sac. And these children grew up and became giants, 3,000 cubits in height. And when they had devoured all the provisions with which their neighbors had collected, they began to fight against men and to eat them. And at length they ate the flesh and drank the blood of each other. Concerning these giants, the book of Enoch chapter says, "Now the giants were produced from the spirits in the flesh shall be called evil spirits upon the earth. And their habitation shall be on the earth, and evil spirits shall proceed from their bodies, and the spirits of the giants shall consume and persecute and lay waste and fight and work destruction upon the earth and afflict men." So here we're starting to understand what happened, the consequences of going down from the mountain, both angel and man sharing in this. "And they shall neither eat food of any kind nor suffer thirst." Now we're getting a disembodied demonic spirit being just trapped here. "And they shall remain invisible, and these spirits shall attack the children of men and women, for from them they have come forth." So this was, again, an issue that man and angel made together. "And the wickedness of these giants became so great that the earth itself complained unto Yahawah. And at this time Azazel taught the men of art in working in metals, and the use of stibium and eye paint, and the art of dyeing stuffs in bright colors. And Amarazaraka taught enchantments like magic and the knowledge of hers. And Amaros taught how spells were to be broken. And Barakael taught the astrology, and Kokabel had taught the knowledge of the signs, and Tamayel taught astronomy, and Azaradael taught concerning the moon, or the book of Enoch, chapter 5. The origins of the 7 sages were probably the 7 wise men who were revered by the Babylonians. I guess you could take over.
Yeah, that was a tough but interesting note.
Yeah, good one. You're right. Good to point it out. It does tie back to a lot of the book of Enoch.
Good job. Those names, that's the tough part, right?
Yeah, they're hard. They're not.
"And when Yared had lived 960 years, and the day of his departure approached and came nigh and arrived, all the patriarchs gathered themselves together and came unto him, Enoch his firstborn, and Methuselah, and Lamech, and Noah, they and their wives and their children, and were blessed by him. And he prayed over them, and said unto them, I will make you to swear by the holy blood of Abel, that you will not go down from this holy mountain, for I know that Yahawah will not allow you to remain very much longer in this holy country. Inasmuch as ye have transgressed the commandment of your fathers, ye shall surely be cast out into that outer country, and ye shall no longer have your habitation on the skirts of the mountain of paradise. And take ye good heed to this, let him that is among you who shall go forth from that holy country take with him the body of our father Adam, and the offerings of gold, frankincense, and myrrh that are in the cave of treasures, and let him carry away and deposit the body in the place wherein he shall be commanded by Yahawah to set it down. And thou, my son Enoch, depart thou not from before the body of Adam, but minister before Yahawah purely and holy all the days of thy life. And Yared died, being 962 years old, on the 13th day of the month of Iyar, or May, on the day of the eve of the Sabbath, Friday, not really, at sunset, in the 366th year of the life of Noah. And Enoch his son embalmed him, and buried him in the cave of treasures, and they made mourning for him 40 days. Little note from the book of the Bee. And Enoch stood up to minister before Yahawah in the cave of treasures. And the children of Seth turned aside from the right path and willed to go down to the children of Cain on the plain. And Enoch and Methuselah and Lamech and Noah mourned over them. And Enoch had ministered before Yahawah for 50 years in the 365th year of the life of Noah. And when Enoch knew that Yahawah was about to remove him from the earth, he called Methuselah and Lamech and Noah and said unto them, I know that Yahawah is wroth with this generation, and the pitiless judgment hath been decreed for the people thereof. Ye are the chiefs of this generation and the remnant thereof. For no other man shall be born on this mountain who shall be the chief of the children of his people. But take ye good heed to yourselves, and see that ye minister before Yahawah in purity and holiness. And when Enoch had given them his commandment in these words, Yahawah removed him to the land of life, and to the delectable mansions which are round about paradise, and to that country which is beyond the reach of death. And all of the children of Seth that remained, only these 3 patriarchs in the mountain of the triumphant ones, Methuselah, Lamech, and Noah, for all the others had betaken themselves to the encampment of the sons of Cain. Notes. Then Michael, Gabriel, Suriel, and Uriel looked down from heaven. So it's always these 4 archangels right here. Michael, Gabriel, Suriel is Uriel. Well, that's Uriel. I think it's Raphael. Right? Looked down from heaven and saw the wickedness which Azazel had done in the world, and they heard the appeal which the souls of the dead were making to heaven, and they reported the matter to the Most High. When Yahawah heard their words, he sent an angel, Asirdiel, the son of Lamech, Noah, with the command, Hide thyself. No mention is made of Methuselah, who begot Lamech when he was 187 years old, and who lived 969 years, and Lamech, who lived 777 years, and begot Noah in the 182nd year of his age, was passed over in favor of his son. Noah consolidated his position by marrying the daughter of Enoch. The angel revealed to Noah that a flood was about to cover the earth, and told him how to escape from it.
Hold on. So that was a really interesting piece of information that you don't get from Jubilees, Jasher, or the book of Genesis. Noah actually was married to Enoch's daughter. I did not know that. I find that very interesting.
And then Yahawah commanded Raphael to bind Azazel hand and foot and thrust him into a dark hole in the desert of Dudiel, a place near Jerusalem, and heap stones and rocks upon him. There he was to remain until the day of judgment, when he would be cast into the lake and consumed, into the fire and consumed. Gabriel was sent to destroy all the children of fornication, and Michael was sent to bind Simeazah and the other decharchs of the children of Seth, and to imprison them under the mountains of the earth for 70 generations, after which time they were to be taken to the abyss of fire and tortured there forever. Book of Enoch. The Book of the Mysteries of Heaven and Earth says that it was the men who taught man the arts of civilization who caused Yahawah to bring the flood on the earth. This work gives the names of these men and describes their inventions thus. We got some tough stuff here.
Yeah, just add a side note, Raphael, you were correct in the definition of that angel. And when we look in the book of Enoch, it says that Raphael was set over all disease and over every wound of the children of the people. So he was a healer archangel.
All right, so we've got Pipros understood the sun. Rurid quarried stones. Zerel instituted the month. Penin introduced horse riding or racing. Gael invented the axe. Tigana invented the shield. Ori taught men to play musical instruments. Ubi taught working in iron. Mag taught horse riding. Nagodi discovered medicinal springs and made known the planetary hours when the waters were most effective. Garge made the first corn grinder. Cedar taught men how to mix dough. Gimmer taught the use of earthenware vessels for food. Zer taught men to milk animals. Hegi taught men to make roofs, and Tentrobe showed them how to make doors. Saper taught butter making. Helg discovered how to carve wood and stone. Eder was the first to cultivate trees. Sino taught house building, and Toph invented the potter's craft. Arter Begas invented agricultural implements. Sebedid Jazz introduced the use of coal, eye paint, stibium. Zer invented the brewing of beer. Benteladas invented the oven. Nafil taught men to make plantations and gardens. Yarba discovered how to fell trees and saw them up. Elo taught dancing. Penumas invented architecture and writing. Agalamum taught the use of beasts and plowing and how to drive furrows. Nusis invented plows and leather whips. Acor discovered bronze or copper. Certain men taught working in cedar and willow wood. Wasag and Beria taught men the game of Tabat, and Ner and Zebedjud taught them to play the games of Atwama and Akis and the games of the circus. You want to take over here, brother?
Sure. Yeah, I'll do this read, then we can have a song break after that. Those are some hard names. I don't know. I think you did a great job, though. You definitely know how to pronunciate it. The rule of Noah we have to scroll down to, correct?
Yeah.
So yeah, you want to look about the angels, and I find it really interesting that Raphael isn't spoken of too much in the regular 66 book canon, right? Why are it's the Catholics that pray to them, and I don't know if they do it correctly, but I went too far, huh? The rule of Noah. Noah had a really interesting birth. He was born with blonde hair and light, shining eyes. That's the death of Methuselah, the rule of Methuselah and Noah. No, what? Where's Noah? The building of the ark. Oh, I went way too far. Sorry, everybody. The rule of Noah, or Noah. And when Noah saw that sin had increased in his generation, he preserved himself in virginity for the first 500 years. And Yahawah spoke unto him and said unto him, Take ye unto thee wife Hakel, the daughter of Namas, or Hakel Namas, the daughter of Enoch, the brother of Methuselah. And Yahawah revealed unto him concerning the flood which he was making ready to produce. And he spake to him and said unto him, 130 years from this moment I will make the flood. Note here, one of the children of the family of Enoch went into perdition, and so Noah married a woman that was also akin to the children of Cain. So I want to make sure that people understand that everything was preserved. There's no side pointing fingers saying that you destroyed all of us and kept all of them. And we can see that child of Cain, building of the ark. And Yahawah said unto Noah, Make for thyself an ark, the saving of the children of thy house, and build it in the plain below this mountain, in the encampment of the children of Cain. And ye shall cut down the timber for the same from the trees that are on this mountain. And thus shall be the dimensions thereof. Its length shall be 300 cubits according by thy cubit, and the breadth shall be 50 cubits, and its height 30 cubits. And above it shall be finished off 1 cubit, and make there 3 stories in it. The lowest shall be for the wild animals and cattle. The middle one shall be for the birds and the feathered fowl. And the topmost shall be for thee and thy children and thy house. And make in it cisterns for water and cupboards for food. And make to thyself a striking board of Eshakar, a wood which will not rot, 3 cubits long, and 1.5 cubits in breadth. And there shall be a hammer of the same kind of wood. And with it thou shalt strike the board 3 times in one day, once in the morning, that the workmen may be gathered together for the work of the ark, and once at midday, that they may eat, and once at sunset, so that they may cease from their labor. And when thou strikest the board, and the men hear the sound of the blows, and say unto thee, What is that thou doest? Thou shalt say unto them, Yahawah is going to make a flood of waters. And Noah did as Yahawah commanded him, and there were born unto him 3 sons, within a space of 100 years, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And they took unto them wives of the daughters of Methuselah. According to the book of the bee, the stories were to have boards projecting ledges, and each board should be 1 cubit. Just we're getting some more detail again about the ark and the death of Lamech. And when Lamech had lived 770 years, he died during the lifetime of Methuselah, his father, 40 years before the flood, and on the 21st day of the month of Elul, or September, and on the first day of the week, in the 80th year of the life of Shem, the firstborn of Noah. And Noah, his firstborn, embalmed him, and Methuselah and his father swathed him for burial, and they buried him too in the cave of treasures, and they mourned for him 40 days. And there's another note. The rule of Methuselah and Noah. And Methuselah and Noah remained alone on the mountain, for the children of Seth had gone down from the skirts of the mountain of paradise to the plain where they lived with the children of Cain. And the men and the children of Seth had intercourse with the daughters of Cain, and conceived of them, and brought forth men, giants, and the sons of giants, who were likened unto towers. Now, because of this certain ancient writers have fallen into error, and have not written, the angels came down from heaven, and had intercourse with men, and by them these famous giants had been reproduced. But this is not true, for those, this was another one of those notes that when we read last time, I tried to explain that. So it was multiple incursions. So not only was it the fallen angels that went down, it was also mirrored by the humans and the sons of Adam, who also became unclean. All the parabolic language fits, and you can see that. Again, there's a few things in the book here that are not quite right, including the days of the week. And when Methuselah had lived 969 years, and the day of his departure had drawn nigh, it didn't say rapture, Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth and their wives came unto him. Now all of the posterity of Seth who had not betaken themselves down to the plain, only these 8 souls were left. And that's why they founded the city of 8, it's called, when the ark came to rest. Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth and their wives, for no children were born to them before the flood. And when these gathered themselves together to Methuselah, and they had been blessed by him, he embraced and kissed them sorrowfully, and wept over the fall of the children of Seth. And he said unto them, of all the tribes and families of your fathers, this remnant, consisting of 8 souls, alone is left. May the Lord your Elohim of our fathers bless you, and the Lord Yahawah, who formed our father Adam and Eve by themselves, and they were fruitful and multiplied, and the whole of the blessed of the land which was round about paradise was filled with their progeny, shall make you to be fruitful and to multiply, and the whole earth shall be filled with you, and shall save you from the terrible wrath which had been decreed against the rebellious generation. And he shall be with you, and he shall protect you, and the gift which was given by Yahawah unto our father Adam shall go forth with you from this holy country. And these 3 measures of the wheat of blessing which Yahawah gave unto your father Adam shall serve as leaven, and shall be kneaded into your seed and into the seed of your children, that is to say, royalty, priesthood, and prophecy. Wow. I mean, is anybody paying attention to the book? Okay. They started it off with this information in this paragraph, some note that somebody wrote. But boy, did they bring it back by explaining the 3-part leaven parable, starting back with Adam, and how it took a 3-part process to become not only a prophet, not only a priest, but a king, a healer, and a prophesier, right? So this is the story of Adam. How much more is there left? Should I finish it?
There's a chunk.
I guess we could go to a song break if you want.
All right. Sounds good.
feeling like we're gonna drown, but it's the risk we take. Your love always pulls me out, night and day. The sun is always gonna set, 'cause when I'm looking in your eyes, you feel heaven sent. It's the perfect day, we can run away. I can see it in your eyes, slipping into paradise. It's the perfect day, we can run away. I can see it in your eyes, slipping into paradise. It's the perfect day, we can run away. I can see it in your eyes, slipping into paradise.
And we are back. We're in the Cave of Treasures, and let's go ahead and keep going. This is some really incredible stuff. So it continues here. Hearken thou, Noah, thou blessed of the Lord. Behold, I am going forth from this world like all my fathers, but thou and thy children shall be saved. And thou shalt do everything which I am commanding you to do this day, for Yahawah will make the flood. When I die, embalm my body, and bury me in the cave of treasures with my fathers. Take thy wife and thy sons, and the wives of thy sons, and get thee down from this holy mountain, and take with thee the body of our father Adam, and these 3 offerings, gold and myrrh and frankincense. Set the body of Adam in the middle of the ark, and lay these offerings upon him. Thou and thy sons shall occupy the eastern part of the ark, and thy wife and thy sons' wives shall occupy the western part thereof. Thy wives shall not pass over to you, and ye shall not pass over to them. Ye shall neither eat nor drink with them, and ye shall have no intercourse whatsoever with them until ye go forth from the ark. Now this generation hath provoked Yahawah to wrath, and he will neither permit them to be neighbors of those who are in paradise, nor to praise him with the angels. And when the waters of the flood have subsided from the face of the earth, and ye go forth from the ark, and ye take up your abode in that land, thou, O Noah, the blessed of the Lord, shall not depart from the ark, from the body of our father Abraham, but minister thou before Yahawah in the ark purely and holy all the days of thy life. And these offerings shall be placed in the east, and command them, Shem, thy firstborn, to take up with him after thy death the body of our father Adam, and to carry it and deposit it in the middle of the earth. And let him establish there a man from among his descendants who shall minister there. And he shall be one who is set apart all the days of his life. He shall not take a wife. He shall not shed blood. He shall not offer up these offering of wild animals and feathered fowl, but he shall offer unto Yahweh bread and wine. This is very interesting. The bread and wine covenant. This is the original that we're coming up on, everybody. And that's tomorrow night at sundown in your location. For by these redemption shall be made for Adam and all his prosperity. And the angel of Yahawah shall go before him, and he shall show him the place where the middle of the earth is situated. And the apparel of him that shall stand up there to minister before the body of Adam shall be the skins of wild animals. And he shall not shave off the hair of his head, and he shall not cut his nails, but he shall remain alone in his natural state, because he is the priest of Yahweh the Most High. In the book of Adam, Melchizedek. Shem was to appoint Melchizedek, the son of Canaan and grandson of Arphaxad, to be the priest of the Most High, and he was to stand and minister on the mountain which is in the middle of the earth. He was to wear a garment of skin and have a leather girdle about his goings, and his apparel was to be humble and without ornament. And when
The same outfit that John the Baptist wore.
Same one. And when Methuselah had commanded Noah to do all these things, he died with tears in his eyes and sorrow in his heart. He was 969 years old when he died on the 14th day of the month, Adar, March, on the first day of the week, in the 79th year of the life of Shem, the son of Noah. And Noah, his grandson, embalmed the body of Methuselah with myrrh and cassia and stocti, and Noah and his sons buried him in the cave of treasures, and they and their wives made mourning for him 40 days. And when the days of his mourning had passed, Noah went into the cave of treasures, and embraced and kissed the holy bodies of Seth, Enosh, and Canaan, and Mahalalel, and Yared, and Methuselah, and Lamech his father, and he was greatly moved, and tears gushed from his eyes. And Noah carried the body of our father Adam, and the body of Eve, and his firstborn Shem carried the gold, and Ham carried the myrrh, and Japheth the frankincense, and they went forth from the cave of treasures. And as they were coming down from that holy mountain, they were smitten sorely with grief, and they wept in agony, because they were to be deprived of that holy place, and the habitation of their fathers, and weeping painfully and wailfully, sorrowfully, and enveloped gloom, they said, Remain in peace, O holy paradise, thou habitation of our father Adam. He went forth from thee alive, but stripped of glory and naked. And behold, at his death he was deprived of thy nearness. He and his progeny were cast out into exile in that land of curses, to pass their days there in pain, and sickness, and in labor, and in weariness, and in trouble. Remain in peace, O cave of treasures. Remain in peace, O habitation and inheritance of our fathers. Remain in peace, O our fathers and patriarchs. Pray for us, O ye who live in the dust, ye friends and beloved ones of the living Elohim. Pray ye for the remnant of your prosperity which is left. O ye who have propitiated Yahweh, make supplication unto him on our behalf in your prayers. Remain in peace, O Enosh. Remain in peace, O ye ministers of Yahweh, Canaan, and Mahalalel, and Yared, and Methuselah, and Lamech, and Enoch. Cry out in sorrow on our behalf. Remain in peace, O haven and asylum of the angels. O ye our fathers, cry out in sorrow on our behalf, because ye will be deprived of our society. And we will cry out in sorrow, because we are cast out unto a bare land, for our habitation will be with the wild beasts. And as they were coming down from that holy mountain, they kissed the stones thereof, and embraced the delectable trees thereof. And in this wise they came down, and they wept with great sorrow, and shed scalding or bitter tears. And suffering sorely they descended to the plain. And Noah went into the ark, and deposited the body of Adam in the middle thereof, and he placed these offerings upon it. Now in the year when Noah went into the ark, the second 1,000 years of the prosperity of Adam to the time of the flood came to an end, according to what the 70 wise writers have told us. Notes: Book of Adam says that when Noah and his sons were carrying the body of Adam out of the cave, the bodies of the other patriarchs cried out and asked the body of Adam if they were to be separated from it. Adam replied that he must leave the holy mountain, and told them that he knew Yahawah would bring their bodies together again on another occasion, and bade them wait patiently. Adam asked Yahawah to allow the lighted lamp to remain with the bodies in the cave until the resurrection. This Yahawah did, and he closed the cave until the day of the resurrection. Noah and his sons marveled greatly when they heard the bodies of the patriarchs talking together in the cave. Having carried away the body of Adam, and the gold, myrrh, and frankincense, they returned to the mountain, intending to enter the cave once again. They sought carefully, but could not find the cave, and then they knew that Yahweh had sealed it and had hidden it from them, so that they might never dwell there again.
Wow. What context. The bodies of the patriarchs were all, don't leave us, Adam. Where's he going? Adam's like, don't worry, guys. Yahawah made a deal. We're going to be okay. Just chill out and be patient, right?
Yeah.
Adam was doing his best there. It was dark and it was very scary. Okay, the third 1,000 years from the flood to the reign of Reu. Noah's entry into the ark. The entrance of Noah into the ark took place on the day of the eve of the Sabbath, on the 17th day of the blessed month Iyar. On the eve of the Sabbath in the morning, in the 3rd hour, the beasts and the cattle went into the lowermost story. And at midday, all the feathered fowl and all the reptiles went into the middle story. And at sunset, Noah and his sons went into the ark. On the east side of the 3rd story, and his wife and wives of his sons went to the west side, and the body of Adam was deposited in the middle of the ark, wherein also all of the mysteries of the church were deposited. Thus, and again, this is the scripture that talks about how the book of Enoch and the different books from Adam down made it. And men on the east side, and thus women in the church shall be on the west side and men on the east, so that the men may not see the faces of the women, and the women may not see the faces of the men. Thus also was it in the ark. The women were on the west side and the men on the east, and the body of our father Adam was placed between them like a raised stand or throne. And as quietness reigneth in the church between men and women, so also peace reigned in the ark between the wild beasts and the feathered fowl, and the creeping things or the reptiles. And as the kings and judges and rich men and poor and governors and sick and beggars live in concord, this is to say, in general bond of peace, so also was it in the ark. For lions and panthers and savage beasts of prey lived in peace and harmony with the cattle, and the beasts that were fierce and strong lived in peace with those that were timid and weak, and the lion with the ox, and the wolf with the lamb, and the lion's whelp with the calf, and the serpent with the dove, and the hawk with the sparrow. I mean, how beautifully poetic is this? And this you're getting is a little taste of the kingdom, and how everything's going to live and work together. The flood, right? We're getting serious here. This was a devastating event here. And when Noah and his sons had gone into the ark, and his wife and his wives and his sons, on the 17th day of the month of Iyar, at sunset, the door of the ark was shut fast. And Noah and his sons in captivity in the darkness. And as soon as the door of the ark was shut, the floodgates of the heavens were opened, and the foundations of the earth were rent asunder. So the water just bursted up into the sky. It started to pour rain down. And ocean, that great sea which surroundeth the whole realm, right? We're supposed to be told we live in outer space, but this says that we're surrounded by a great sea of water, poured forth its floods. And it doesn't say ice wall here. It says sea. And whilst the floodgates of heaven were opened, the foundations of the earth were rent asunder. The storehouses of the winds burst their bolts, and the storms
of the whirlwind swept forth. So now we're getting hurricanes, everything just pandemonium, and the ocean roared and hurled its floods upon the earth. And the children of Seth, who was besmirched themselves in the mire of fornication, ran to the door of the ark and entered Noah to open to them the door of the ark. And when they saw the water floods which were swirling about them and engulfing them on all sides, there were great tribulation, and they tried to climb up upon the mountains of paradise, but were unable to do so. Now the ark was closed and sealed, and the angel of Yahawashai stood over one side of it, that he might act as the pilot thereof. And when the floods of the waters mastered the children of Seth, and they began to drown in their great and mighty waves, then was fulfilled that which David spaketh concerning them, saying, I said, Ye are Elohims, and all of you the sons of the Most High. But since you have done this, and ye have loved the fornication of the daughters of Cain, like them you too shall perish, and even as they did, so too ye shall die. And when the ark was lifted up upon from the earth, and the mighty strength of the waters, all of the children of men, and the wild beasts, and the feathered fowl, and the cattle, and the creeping things, and everything that liveth upon the face of the earth was drowned. And the waters of the flood mounted up above all the tops of the high mountains 15 cubits high, according to the measure of the Spirit. And the flood waxed strong, and the waters thereof lifted up the ark until it reached the skirts of the mountains of paradise. And as the flood had been blessed by paradise, had been made holy, it bowed its head and kissed the skirts of paradise, and turned itself back to destroy the entire earth. And the ark flew upon the wings of the wind over the waters of the flood from the east to the west, and from the north to the south. Again, this is exactly what the Spirit of Yahweh did as it hovered across the waters, and it marked out in its path the cross upon those waters. And the ark flew about for 150 days, and it came to a rest upon the mountains. So the ark was flying. It wasn't just on the waves, it was literally in the air. And we continue on here. In that 7th month, that is to say, in the 1st of October, or Tishri, on the 17th day thereof, and Yahweh commanded the water. So this was tabernacle time period. And they became separated from each other, and the celestial waters were taken up and ascended to their own place above the heavens, whence they came. And the waters which had risen up from the earth returned to the lower parts of the abyss, or under the earth, which we call the oceans, right? These are where the rains fall down upon our heads, the waters above us. And the ocean which surroundeth the whole world returned to its innermost parts thereof. No ice wall was formed here. And the waters which had been on the earth and had been assigned to it by the divine nod for the needs thereof from the beginning remained upon it. And the waters diminished little by little until the 10th month, which is Shabbat, February. 1 second. And on the 1st day thereof, the tops of the mountains appeared. And 40 days later, on the 10th day of the month of Adar, Noah opened the east window of the ark and sent forth a raven first to bring back tidings. And the raven departed and did not return. And after the waters had diminished a little bit more from the earth, Noah sent forth a dove, and it found no place to rest, and it returned to Noah on the ark. And after 7 more days, he sent forth another dove, and it returned to him, carrying in its beak an olive leaf. Now the dove figureth for us 2 covenants. In the first covenant, the Spirit which spake by the prophets did not find a place to rest among the rebellious people, i.e., this says here the Jews, or the Hebrews. And in the second covenant, it rested upon the peoples through the waters of baptism, which is Christ's and John the Baptist's ministry. The above description of the floodgates substantially was given the book of Adam, and also in the book of B. Now I'll read a little bit more. Noah leaves the ark, and in the 601st year of the life of Noah, on the 1st day of the month of Nisan, the waters had dried up from the face of the earth, and in the 2nd month, which is Iyar, wherein Noah went into the ark on the 27th day of the holy 1st day of the week, or the day after the Sabbath, their going forth took place. That's the day that Yahawashai was seen, the day after the Sabbath, the 8th day. And he and his wife went forth, and his sons and their wives went forth with them. Now, when they went into the ark, they went in separate companies, Noah and his sons in one company, and his wife and their wives in another company. And the men did not know the women until they went forth from that ark. And all the wild beasts and all the cattle and all the feathered fowl and all the creeping things went forth from the ark on the 1st day of the week, which is the 8th day. Noah founds the city of Ad. Do you want to read this, Jay?
I could take over now if you want.
Sure.
What's going on here? We will keep going. And when they had gone forth, Noah began work on the ground, and they built a city and called the name thereon Thamanion, or 8, after the name of the 8 souls who had gone forth from the ark. And Noah built an altar and offered up upon... Go ahead.
I think it's important that, so the bread that came forth from the ark is the same name. Did we call it Manion? How were you pronunciating the word? I just wanted to point that parabolic key.
Well, here I see Thamanon, but I'm not familiar with this pronunciation. But yeah, the city of 8. I think I know what you're trying to refer to.
Manna, right?
Manna.
The city of Manna. We'll continue, please.
And Noah built an altar and offered up upon it an offering of beasts that were clean and feathered fowl. And Yahawah was appeased by the offering of Noah, and he established with him an everlasting covenant, and swore an oath, saying, I will never again make a flood. He took away the arrow of wrath from the bow which is in the clouds, and he stripped from it the strings of anger, and spread it out, unbent it in the clouds. For formerly, when the bow was bent in the firmament against the generation of the children of Cain, the murderer, they used to see the arrow of wrath placed in a position on the string of anger, but after the flood they did not see the arrow on the string.
So again, what we're getting is the representation of the rainbow, and the rainbow actually looked like there was an arrow drawn pointing down at the earth, and that also has to do with the sun. So we're getting a bit of a difference in the... Again, we liken this reality to a virtual reality. So when the flood happened, there was some changes to the coding. And the rainbow now looked like a rainbow on the sky. Just, you see the arch of the colors. It didn't look like something was trying to shoot at you.
So this is one of those notes that might be interesting. It says, the waters dried up in the 607th year of the life of Noah. The altar on which Noah sacrificed was that on which Adam, Cain, and Abel had laid their offerings. It had been damaged by the flood, but Noah rebuilt it. The city of Thamon is identified with Subha in the book of B, but this is a false identification. The city of 8, Thamnon, is not to be identified with that, which lay in the right bank of the Tigris near Kifa, but with Thamnon, the Arab geographers, which lay at the distance of one day's journey. So about the location. And then it goes, the vineyard of Noah. And when they had gone forth from the ark, they sowed seed and planted a vineyard, and they pressed out new wine. And Noah drew nigh and drank some of it, and immediately he had drunk of it, he became drunk, and having fallen asleep, his shame was seen. And his son Ham saw the nakedness of his father, and he did not cover it. But he laughed at him, and made a mock of him, and he ran and called his brethren, that they also might make a mock of their father. And when Shem and Japheth heard of it, they were dismayed exceedingly. And they rose up, took a cloak, and walked backwards with their faces turned away, that they might not see the nakedness of their father. And they cast the cloak over him, and covered him. And when Noah woke up from the sleep of his wine, his wife told him about everything that had happened, and he also within himself knew what had happened to him. And Noah was exceedingly angry with his son Ham, and he said, Cursed be Canaan, he shall be a servant of servants to his brethren.
So it's key to point out that he didn't curse Ham himself, he actually cursed Ham's descendants.
Why, since the whole of the folly was Ham's, was Canaan cursed, except that when the youth grew up and attained the full measure of his understanding, Satan entered into him and became to him a teacher of sin, and he renewed the work of the house of Cain, the murderer. He constructed it and made reed instruments and harps, and the fiends and the devils went into them and dwelt therein. And immediately wind was blown through them, the reeds, the devils sang into them, and sent forth loud sounds. And when men struck the harps, the devils became operative inside them. And when Noah heard that Canaan had done this, he He was grieved sorely because the work of error through which the fall of the children of Seth had taken place was renewed. For by means of singing and lewd play and the mad lasciviousness of the children of Cain, Satan had cast down the mighty men, the sons of Yahawah, into fornication. And through the music of reed pipes and harps sin had multiplied among the former generations, until at length Yahawah became wroth and made the flood. And Canaan was cursed because he had dared to do this, and his seed became a servant of servants, that is to say, to the Egyptians and the Cushites and the Mysians and the Indians and all the Ethiopians whose skins are black. And because Ham had dared to make a mock of his father, he was called vile or lascivious all the days of his life. Now Noah, in his lying down in sleep, having drunk wine, symbolized the cross of Christ, as the blessed man David singeth in the psalm concerning him, saying, Wake up, Lord, like a sleeping man, and like a man whom wine hath overcome. Let the heretics who say Yahawah was crucified hold their peace. Here David called him Lord, even as Peter the apostle said, This Yahawashai whom ye crucified hath Yahawah made Lord and Messiah, or Christ. He did not say God, Allah, but Lord, thus making known concerning the unity or oneness of the two persons who were united in the sonship. Now when Noah woke up from his sleep, he cursed Canaan and reduced his seed to slavery and scattered his seed among the nations. And when our Lord rose from the dead, he cursed the Hebrews and scattered them among the nations. Now the seed of Canaan, as I have already said, are the Egyptians, and behold, they are scattered over the whole earth, and they have been made servants of servants. And of what kind is this slavery of slavery? Behold, the Egyptians go round about all over the earth carrying loads on their backs, literally necks. Now men who are not fettered under the yoke of slavery, when dispatched by their masters on journeys, do not march on their feet and carry loads, but they ride upon beasts in an honorable manner, like their masters. The seed of Ham and the Egyptians who carry loads, and they march on the roads, with their backs and necks breaking under their loads, and they wander round to the doors of the children of the brethren. The seed of Ham was reduced through the folly of Canaan to suffer this penalty, that is, to become servants even to servants.
Just to make an issue, I don't know if you want me to read the death of Noah, I think is next. So it clearly outlined what the sin was. You've got blasphemers like Barry Awe that pride their channels on being, family channels, and I think he said that Ham raped Noah or something. So you get these just disgusting, sick, perverted things that come up because books were taken out. Right? When you clearly understand what was read and heard here, that he mocked him. He saw him naked and he went and told his brothers, you got to come laugh at dad with me. Wait till you guys see this. He's naked right now. It's hilarious. Come and laugh. And the other two brothers were appalled by it. They didn't ask him if he had just raped Noah or Noah's wife. It was about being mocked. It was something wrong with his heart.
So I'll just finish with this note here. The book of the beast says concerning the cursing of Ham, the reason why Noah cursed Canaan, who was not yet born nor had sinned, was because Ham had been saved with him in the ark from the waters of the flood, and with his father received the divine blessing, and also because of the art of sin, music and dancing and all the other hateful things, were about to be revived by his prosperity, for the art of music proceeded from the seed of Canaan. The same work adds, after the flood a son was born to Noah, and he called his name Jonathan, and he provided him with gifts and sent him to the fire of the sun to the east. Book of Adam merely states that Noah married another wife who bore him 7 children, and that he continued to dwell on the mountain till the end of his days. If you want to take over at the death of Noah.
Yeah. Interesting read, right? It's so great to always get another level of understanding. The death of Noah. Noah lived 350 years after he came forth from the ark, and he was sick unto death. Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and Arphaxad, and Selah, gathered together unto him. And Noah called Shem his firstborn, and said unto him privately, Take heed, my son Shem, unto what I say unto you this day. When I am dead, go into the ark, whereas thou hast been saved, and bring out the body of our father Adam. And let no man have knowledge of what thou doest, and take with thee from this place provision for the way, bread and wine. And take with thee Melchizedek, the son of Malachah, because him hath Yahawashai chosen from among all of your descendants, that he may minister before him in respect of the body of our father Adam. And he took the body and placed it in the center of the earth, and made Melchizedek to sit down there. And the angel of Yahawashai shall go before you, and shall show you the way wherein you shall go, and also the place wherein the body of Adam shall be deposited, which is indeed in the center of the earth. Now, could you imagine what kind of a movie you could make here from this book? I mean, it makes me mad. I get literally fired up at the nonsense that we got to put up with in modern day Hollywood. This is the greatest story ever written. It's supernatural. It's got so many amazing, it's adult language too. It's you got to really pay attention and just to see exactly what's going on here. Yeah, Jason and I, and maybe 2 or 3 other people, are the only ones in the history of mankind, at least now, who are willing to get up and read this. It just blows my mind, Jason.
It's like the Raiders of the Ark prequel that should have been made, right?
Yeah, no, we got to watch Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, and all these other movies that just don't mean anything. This is an incredible history here. There, the 4 quarters of the earth embrace each other. For when Yahawashai made the earth, so that's the center of the earth, and his power went before it, and the earth from its 4 corners, right? That's a rectangle or a square, ran after it like the winds and the swift breezes. And there, in the center of the earth, his power stood still and was motionless. There shall redemption be made for Adam and all of his posterity. Now this story or mystery was handed down to us from Adam in all generations. Adam commanded Seth, and Seth commanded Enosh, and Enosh Canaan, and Canaan Mahalalel, and Mahalalel to Yared, and Yared to Enoch, Enoch to Methuselah, Methuselah to Lamech. And behold, I commanded thee this day, and take heed that this story is never mentioned again in all your generations. Get thee up and take the body of Adam, and deposit it secretly in the place where Yahawashai will show you, until the day of redemption. And when Noah had given all these commands unto his son Shem, he died, being 950 years old. And it was the month of Iyar, on the second day of, and at the second hour of the first day of the week. So again, that's the 8th day. And Shem and his son embalmed him and buried him in the city which he had built, and that I like to call Manna, the city of Manna. And they made mourning for him for 40 days. And then we've got a longer note. And it stated that during his dying, the speech Noah indicated to each of his sons which part of the earth he was to dwell with his posterity. The territory of Shem extended from Jerusalem eastward to India, and as far southward as the mountains, which were divided of the Egypt Philistines, included Mount Zion. So now we get again where all the descendants of Noah spread out through. We can actually trace this back. You can actually follow the lineages through time here. The departure of Shem with the body of Adam. And after the death of Noah, Shem did just as his father had commanded him. And he went into the ark by night and brought out the body of Adam thereon. And he sealed the ark with his father's seal, that no man perceived what he had done. And he called Ham and Japheth and said unto them, My brethren, my father commanded me to go up and to travel over the earth, even to the sea, the Mediterranean. And I am to see what the rivers are like, and then return unto you. And behold, my wife and children of my house are with you in your care. Let your eyes be upon them. And his brethren said unto him, Take with thee a company of men from the camp, for the land is a desert waste, and is shorn of inhabitants, and there are wild beasts therein. And Shem said unto them, The angel of Yahawashai shall go with me, And he shall save me from every evil thing. And his brethren said unto him, Go in peace, and may Yahawah, or Elohim of our fathers, be with thee. And Shem said unto Mahalalel and Machalalel and Shahalalel, the son of Canaan, and the grandson of Apharachst, the father of Melchizedek, and Yozadazak, his mother, give ye Melchizedek, that he may go up with me and be a consolation for me upon the road. And Malalakal and Yozadek, his mother, said unto Shem, Take him and go in peace. And Shem gave commands unto his brethren and said unto them, My brethren, my father made me swear that neither I nor any of your descendants shall go into the ark. And he hath sealed the ark with his seal, and said unto them, Let no man go near it. Shem carries the bottom of Adam to Golgotha, the place of the skulls. And Shem took the body of Adam and Melchizedek and went forth by night from among his people. And behold, the angel of the Lord, who was going before them, appeared unto them. And their journey was very speedily, because the angel of the Lord strengthened them until they arrived at the place. And when they arrived at Golgotha, which is at the center of the earth, the angel of the Lord showed Shem the place for the body of Adam. And when Shem had deposited the body of our father Adam upon that place, the four quarters of the earth separated themselves from each other, and the earth opened itself in the form of a cross. And Shem and Melchizedek deposited the body of Adam therein. And as soon as they had laid it therein, the four quarters of the earth drew quickly together and enclosed the body of our father Adam. And the door of the created world was shut fast. And that place was called Karakapatha, or the skull, because the head of the children of men was deposited there. And it is called Golgotha because it was round like the head of Rezipatha, a trodden down thing, because the head of the accursed serpent, that is to say Azazel, was crushed there. The Gababatha, because of all the nations were gathered together to it. The book of the beast gives us a note here. Melchizedek says neither the father nor mother written in the genealogies, no natural parents are written down, the greater number. So, because you get people that'll come out and say that nobody knew the beginning or the end of Melchizedek. And that's also a parable as well. It says here in the book of Adam, says that Canaan was the father of Melchizedek, and the angel of the face, or Michael, appeared unto him and told him that he was going to send away his son from him. And this same angel also appeared unto Melchizedek and told him to go with Shem to minister before the body of Adam in the center of the earth, and also to Shem. And after his interview with the angel, Shem made a splendid coffin to hold the body of Adam and prepared bread and wine for the journey. When Melchizedek went to the ark to take out the body, they had found the door of it had been locked by Noah. Noah wasn't playing any games. Took the spark plugs out of the car so nobody would take it. And they had no key to open it. As soon as Melchizedek touched the lock, the door opened itself. And the voice of Adam was heard to address him as the priest of the Most High Yahweh. And Melchizedek went into the ark, and Michael helped him to carry out Adam's body. And Shem brought out the gold, and this kind of reminds me of the help that Christ was given when he was carrying the torture stake or the cross. And Shem brought out the gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Shem laid the body in the coffin which he had made, and then shut the door of the ark. Melchizedek was 15 years of age when he set out with Shem, and the voice of Adam told Shem when they arrived to the center of the earth. And as soon as the coffin touched the rock split asunder to receive it. On the following morning, Melchizedek built an altar of 12 stones and offered up upon it, guess what? You guessed it, bread and wine, which Shem had brought from paradise. I mean, wow. I think, do you want to do a little bit more reading, or is that enough for today?
That might be it. I think that's perfect.
Highlight this spot here in green. But we do have, again, the bread and wine covenant that we're celebrating tomorrow. Go figure. And now we see that it goes back to Adam, right? And it's a really beautiful covenant.
Yeah, it all goes back to Adam, right? He's the OG.
Yeah, he started the covenant, and then it was Noah that it was continued with, and then Shem, and then Shem and Melchizedek, and then Melchizedek was was given that. And then, some of the other great things that we see, the parabolic language of the clothes that John the Baptist is wearing, the fur of the skin, and that was the protector. Melchizedek was the protector of Adam, and you're getting the cross. So again, the parabolic language is that the tree of good and evil is what Adam ate from, that death was put upon him. And then Christ was nailed to it, and he became the fruit that was eaten to eternal salvation. So it's all woven together in a tapestry that no other story has ever even come close to. It's insane to me that it's not a movie, but you know what? We're actually living in it. So there's no need to try to copy something that just is.
Exactly. It's been an absolutely great night. Is there anything else that that you want to go through before we wrap this one up, brother?
No, this is good. Again, we should be live again tomorrow, same channel. Be a little bit later, sometime after 9 Eastern. So it'll be a little bit later. That way everybody can do it. Or you can drink some wine and have a bite of unleavened bread at any time in the next 24 hours after we do it. It doesn't have to be live. You can do it in your own homes with your own family. But we will be live. I'm sure Jason will have a link up for everyone to join us tomorrow night and celebrate the bread and wine covenant, which is also known as Passover, and the starting to what we call unleavened bread.
Yep. The Last Supper. This was it. It was right before he did his passion. So this is the season, everybody. This is the real Holy Week, not the one that the Vatican said back at the time of Easter. And we'll be paying attention to what takes place on the world scene right now, because, it's all set up. We really do expect the real Great Tribulation to begin at the fall festivals, so that the midpoint would be at Passover, because the first half of the Great Tribulation is the two witnesses ministry for 3.5 years. And the way they die, their death and resurrection parallels what took place with Christ, like identically. And so we would expect that to be at Passover season. So what we're looking at is the time of Jacob's trouble could really be kicking off, which would be the opening of the seals, and then the trumpets could begin this fall. So exciting times. We want the Great Tribulation to begin, because the sooner it begins, the quicker it's over. And that's what we're most looking forward to, is just getting into the kingdom of Yahawashai. So where's the only place people are going to find this content, brother?
Only on the Yahawashai News Networks.
what we have.